Hey, what's up, folks? I hope you're all doing well. To begin with, I just want to speak to the fact that the subject of AI, artificial intelligence, of course, is nothing new to cinema, but I think we've seen new movies popping up exploring this theme of AI, especially one movie from this year, Companion, written and directed by Drew Hancock and starring Sophie Thatcher and Jack Quaid. Also coming off the heels of a movie very similar in theme, Subservience with Megan Fox. Did anyone catch that one? I also reviewed that one on our channel, and you can check it out if you're interested in hearing my thoughts about it. We get another very similar movie, Companion, exploring a similar subject and the way artificial intelligence and advanced technologies impact our personal romantic relationships and so forth. So let's get into this review. Look at this movie, see if it's doing something kind of cool or interesting with this theme of AI, and whether it's worth your time, honestly. So the plot involves Josh, played by Jack Quaid, who sparks a romance with Iris, played by Sophie Thatcher. The two of them really hit it off until you discover soon afterwards that Iris is in fact a robot built for human companionship that Josh has been leasing or renting. Things start getting crazy when Iris, this subservient robot, goes off the rails and goes completely rogue. We've seen these same ideas explored in other rogue AI movies, right? Such as Ex Machina, which raise ethical questions around having an enslaved robot workforce, having androids purely built for sex, pleasure, and companionship, which of course is the major plot and theme of Companion. But I think what makes Companion a little fresh in its take on these themes is the way it explores this issue of AI and its impact on personal relationships through multiple angles. I have to give a shout out to Sophie Thatcher as Iris. I loved her treatment and the story's treatment of her character, particularly in the beginning, in the way that her character is not even aware that she is a robot. She is able to simulate human thought, feeling, emotion, and sensation so perfectly, seamlessly, that you can't tell the difference between her and a real human being. There are only a few moments peppered in the movie where she actually kind of behaves like a robot. In those moments, not to spoil too much, it's usually when, there's some external force trying to control and manipulate her. Outside of that, she appears to have consciousness, agency, and be her own person. It kind of creates a reversal in expectations. Usually, you might think the rogue AI robot character is going to be the one to fear the most, but, it doesn't play out exactly like that in the movie. I also have to give my hats off to Jack Quaid in this movie. He is great and really has to carry the movie equally with Sophie Thatcher because, the relationship and dynamic between Iris and Josh in the movie is the meat of the movie, and where they take their characters by the end of the movie, by the third act, is just juicy as hell, I'll say, without spoiling too much. Jack Quaid really has to take his character into uncomfortable, unsettling places. He's just terrific. He really sells it equally with Sophie Thatcher here. The story does take its characters to some very dark places, which is unsettling, horrifying, disturbing, involving some grisly violence at times. But also, the movie nicely balances all those elements with some enjoyably dark humor and comedy. And the funniest scenes for me involved the androids programming. One of the aspects of their programming is that you can endlessly customize them through an app on your phone. And in order to initially establish a bond, a love connection with your robot companion, you can select from a number of fantasy scenarios which the robot will simulate in its head, its brain. And one of these fantasy simulated scenarios involves these two characters establishing their bond by doing this synchronized dance to that song Lil Boo Thing. I just found that the funniest shit. I was laughing my ass off. The film has a lot of that where it takes these kind of pure rom-com moments and turns them into something much darker. One of the major themes in the movie is empathy, which immediately comes into play in the company Empathix, which manufactures these robot companions. And of course, the very name, Empathix, ironically sends up that whole idea of empathy because this company cares nothing about these robots or their human clients. It's just trying to turn a profit and manufacture these robots for these vile sociopathic incel characters. And that idea of empathy is taken in a very disturbing direction, particularly involving that reversal that I spoke to in the film, where, the android characters appear to have more humanity, more soul than the human characters, who become vile and sociopathic in their sense of control and manipulation of these androids and doing horribly vile things to these robots with no thought, emotion, just complete sociopathic behavior. And so the film very much kind of implicates, where our humanity could go in a situation and context like this if AI evolved to that level, And the thing is, too, in this movie, the AI robots can experience pain in the same way that humans do. And so that is very unsettling, too, in the movie. And that further deconstructs our very notions of humanity in the movie. For the most part, the ways in which this movie was crafted and executed very much worked for me. The times where it didn't so much really involved certain situations with the characters and the ways they were responding to certain things going down in certain scenes, and left me kind of questioning why they were acting or behaving like that. And I would have liked a little more context or maybe even backstory to explain why they were making those choices or reacting like that. But then again, I also understand that the movie was desiring to play up the satire in certain scenes and reduce the characters to the stereotypically cynical types, and in that way really play up the satire. And sometimes it's hard to do that and give depth to the characters at the same time. But still, I would have liked a little more context in certain scenes. But having said that, overall, I love this movie. The performances are strong, the story and writing are very good. Even though it's borrowing a number of ideas we've seen before in other sci-fi AI themed movies, it's giving kind of a fresh tone and style and take to those ideas and taking them in a unsettling but very fascinating direction. And I love where the movie leaves us and the characters at the end. So if you haven't seen this movie, I strongly recommend it. If I would rate this movie, I would give it a solid 4 out of 5 stars. It's one that I'll come back to and watch again. So let me know if you've seen Companion, if you like these kinds of movies. Please share your thoughts and reflections in the comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and we'll see you next time here.